Hello everyone, welcome to Chess Visor, your wise choice to improve your chess. In today's video, I am going to show you Carlsen's Immortal chess game where he sacrificed his bishop, knight and the rook to finish the game in style. And this game was played in 2004 Chorus Group C, round number 12 in Wykanzi, Netherlands. And Carlsen was handling the white pieces and black pieces was handled by Sipke Ernst. And this is our first video in Immortal Chess Games playlist, so I will be covering more games in future. So if you are new here, kindly consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So without any further delay, let's get started. So 13-year-old Carlsen opened the game with e4. Sipke Ernst replied with c6, the Karakhan defense. Carlsen played d4, grabbing more space in the center, and Ernest hits back in the center with a d5. Here as a white player, we have the option of advancing the e pawn further to e5. That is called advanced variation, which will give some minor advantage for white because the e pawn takes away the natural square for the black's king knight. But in the game, Carlsen played the other main move, that is knight to c3, which defends the pawn and also develops a piece. So after the natural move or the main move d takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop f5, developing the bishop with the tempo, and then the knight simply drops back to g3 and it gains the tempo back. And the bishop has to go to the g6 square. Now we are threatening the bishop with h4, and so he has to play h6, creating an escape square for the bishop, and then Carlsen played knight f3. Here black should continue with the d7 to stop knight e5 idea. Otherwise that is a huge advantage for white in the opening itself. So he must stop that, so he played knight to d7. And then Carlsen followed up with h5, threatening to capture the bishop, so bishop goes to h7. And finally here Carlsen trading the bishop on d3, so queen takes the bishop, and we have, and if you look at this position, we have developed three pieces and we are going to castle soon, and white is clearly better and he has some opening advantage. Since we have advanced the h pawn, most probably Carlsen would like to castle on the queen side immediately, and then he wants to attack on the king side. But here black played e6, opening the bishop's eyes, and here Carlsen continued with the bishop f4. Here the theory should continue with the queen a5 check, bishop to d2, bishop b4, c3, bishop goes back. After c4, the queen also goes back. And this is how black should develop his pieces with some tempos. But here he played the other main move, that is knight g f6. So Carlsen castled on the queen side. Okay, so now after bishop e7, black wants to castle on the king side. Carlsen went knight e4 immediately. Here Sipke Ernst played queen a5, threatening the a2 pawn, but it's not a big deal because of king b1, which simply improves the king's position and defends the pawn. Instead of the queen move, black should have continued with knight takes e4. After queen takes e4, then the other knight coming into play with the tempo, and then the queen simply drops back to e2 and the game will continue. But we did not see the continuation in the game, so he played queen a5. After king b1, black simply castles on the king side. So Carlsen exchanged the one pair of knights, and he centralizes his own knight on e5. And I believe this knight is now worth more than 3 points, considering its relative value, and its controlling squares are very critical. And you will come to see in a moment that this knight is going to create some headache to black. So after the natural rook a d8 by black, it's very logical because it's x-raying the queen, and also he is putting a rook in on a semi-open fight. So Carlsen immediately dropped the queen to e2. From there he can go on either side of the board as per the requirement. But not only that, we should also notice that the bishop on e7 square is undefended and it's being x-rayed by our queen. Now the question is, can we do any tactics out of this? Because you know that undefended pieces are always going to be target for the tactics, I mean the tactical target. So after let's say c5, the game continues c5. If you can pause the video, try to find the only move for white to continue with a greater advantage. I will give you 5 seconds to think starting from now. So I hope you found this beautiful knight sacrifice on g6. Yes, Carlsen played knight g6, hitting everything on the dark squares. Here, if black wants to stay in the game, he should completely ignore this sacrifice and play rook e8. And if knight grabs the bishop, after rook takes e7, d takes c5, and the game is equal. And white is slightly better, but Sipke, took the knight and he accepted the Carlsen's challenge. So after f takes g6, queen takes e6 check. Please note that black cannot black the check with the rook because of h takes g6 and white is going to win the rook. So Ernst played king h8 and Carlsen played the obvious h takes g6. It controls the light squares around the king, and not only that, it also opens the h file for the rook to join the attack later. But if you are wondering about the move that is queen takes e7, then black can untangle everything and play this simple move that is knight to d5, which forks the queen and the bishop. The sample line goes like bishop to d2, knight takes e7, bishop takes a5, rook takes d4, rook takes d4, after c takes d4, and this is roughly equal position, but black may have chance later because of the better piece activity. So that's why Carlsen did not go down this line and he played the absolute best move in the position, that is to capture the g6 pawn to open the line for the rook. So here also black has the chance to stay in the game with like a queen b6. Maybe after queen b6, queen takes e7, now knight g8, queen to e4, rook f e8, bishop e5, rook takes d4, c takes d4. Still white is better, but this is line, I think this line is far better than the line which was played in the game. Because after knight to g8 instead of queen b6, if you look at this position, it looks like black is defending everything, but it's not. So Carlsen made another sacrifice on h6 to rip open the king side for the mating attack. So he played bishop takes h6. Here black took with the pawn, but capturing the bishop with the knight will lead into a quicker mate. So after g takes h6, Carlsen sacked his rook on h6 with a check. So the knight must accept the sacrifice. Then finally queen e7 threatening the mate on h7. So he must play knight f7 to stop the immediate mate threat. So Carlsen immediately took the knight with the pawn. So the king has to run to the safe square. So he played king g7. But the simple move is rook to d3. So in this position, if you are wondering why not we cannot or why we cannot capture the pawn on f7, if black or you are greedy to capture f7, then the mate follows like rook g3 check, king h8, queen h4 check, rook blocks the check, queen f6 check, and then rook to g7, and then finally we can deliver the rook and deliver mate on g7. And that's why black played rook to d6 and Carlsen played rook g3 check anyway. So rook to g6 blocking the check, queen e5 check, king captures f7, queen f5 check, and rook f6 blocking the check, and finally Carlsen delivered this beautiful checkmate on board on d7. So if you enjoyed watching this video, so please show your support by a thumbs up and let me know your ideas and thoughts in the comment section below and share with others. And still, if you have not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. And please feel free to join our live streaming every Tuesday 9:45 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Thanks a lot for watching this video till the end, and as usual, this is Chess Wiser, your wise choice to improve your chess.